Hello, hello, and welcome to Fortune from Fae Tarot and Oracle card readings. This reading is an Oracle card reading. It is timeless, it's for whenever you find it. We are doing the Fairytale Oracle deck at the moment. I've literally picked, by shuffling the deck and seeing what comes out, the first three fairy tales. So, what I'd like you to do is choose which fairy tale is going to be for you. So, the three that I selected from my shuffle was Bluebeard, the Little Mermaid, and Rumpelstiltskin. I will read you the quick highlighted version of the story from the book, just in case you've not heard it, and also that the Little Mermaid is not the same as the Disney version, it's a bit more gruesome. And these are not the Disney versions. So if you could just please pick Bluebird, Little Mermaid, and Rumpelstiltskin, and just put in the comments which one you've selected, that would be lovely. You maybe pick one you know, pick one you don't know, whatever you're drawn to. But let's do Bluebeard first. So this is for whoever's picked Bluebeard. We're going to do what's going on with the first card, and the second card is going to be some advice to help you with the situation. So I'm just going to read you the story first off. This deck is really beautiful. I recommend, if you like fairy tales, I thoroughly recommend it. 66, let's find that. Okay, so this is the tale of Bluebeard. Two sisters were courted by a wealthy man with an unusual blue beard, and although they were frightened by his strange looks, the youngest eventually agreed to marry him. Her new husband informed her that he was leaving on a journey and gave her a key to the house, explaining that she may open every door in his vast castle except one. Tempted by curiosity, the young wife disobeyed him and used the smallest key to open the forbidden chamber, a small room clotted with blood that housed the mutilated and dismembered corpses of Bluebeard's former wives. The young woman understood what was in store for her and, in her horror, dropped the key. She picked it up at once, but was stained with blood, and no amount of washing would make it come out. When her husband returned, she tried to hide the bloody key, but Bluebird demanded to see it and discovered that she had seen the hidden chamber. He told his wife that she must die. She pleaded for a long time to say her prayers, as she knew her brothers were due to visit that day. They arrived just in time to save her. So yeah, not very particularly nice story. But what's going on? We've got the blooded key, unlocking. You're starting to see the truth behind things. Yeah, people have been keeping things hidden from you. But once you unlock this knowledge, you're not going to be able to shut that door and not know it again. Once you unlock that knowledge, but even if you don't unlock that, you're going to know there's something. It's going to be that, like, if someone tells you you can't look at in that room, why can't I look in that room? There must be something really bad in that room. You always think worse than what's in that room. Apart from, I can't think of much worse than finding lots of mutilated bodies in there. But do you know what I mean? It's like, it's actually what's in that room. You want to know what's in there, and it doesn't mean what you're going to find is going to be what's in this fairy tale. It's just what you're going to find. You're not going to be able to shut it down and not know it anymore. Your piece of advice is disobedience. Okay. Don't blindly follow rules. Why is that rule in place? Get curious. Why are they telling you not to do that? You need to be careful how you do it, though, because you need to take control of the situation and not allow other people to control what you're doing. So be careful with that, but just don't blindly follow rules. Why do you do that? Why have we always done that? What's the reason behind it? Think those things through first. Okay, so our next fairy tale is The Little Mermaid. So let's have a quick The first card will be what you're going through, and the second card's going to be your piece of advice to help you with it. What's happening? That's what's going on. Threshold, okay. And what piece of that's the advice? The C. Listen to your unconscious. Right, let's find you the Little Mermaid a minute. The sea folk live at the bottom of the sea in a great palace ruled by the Sea King. He had 6 lovely daughters who each had their own garden where they could plant whatever they liked. For the youngest, nothing gave her such pleasure as to hear about the worlds of humans. On her 15th birthday, the Little Mermaid was permitted to swim to the surface of the sea. A ship alight with lanterns floated there, and the Little Mermaid saw it upon it people dancing. When a storm came, she rescued a prince from the boat and left him safe on the shore. The mermaid learned from her grandmother that humans had immortal souls. She longed for one, but her grandmother told her that a mermaid could only gain a soul if a human loved her, so much that his whole heart cleaved to hers. The little mermaid loved the prince and would dare anything to be with him. A sea witch who lived in a dangerous bog promised to make a potion that would turn the little mermaid's tail into human legs. It would feel as though a sharp sword slashed through you, the witch warned her, and every step you take will feel as though you were treading upon knife blades. The cost for this spell was the mermaid's tongue, so that she could never speak or sing. The mermaid agreed and drank the potion. When she awoke, the prince had found her and taken her to his palace. She became his companion, exploring forests and mountains by his side. Although every step felt like treading on knives, she laughed and followed him on. Not realizing the mermaid had rescued him, the prince told her he had fallen in love with a girl who saved him from drowning and was going to marry her. Heartbroken, the little mermaid realized that she had failed to gain his love and would die the next morning. Her sisters, who had sacrificed their hair to the sea witch in exchange for a dagger, appeared in the water. If the mermaid plunged the dagger into the prince's heart, his blood would turn the mermaid's feet back into a tail. But she couldn't murder the man she loved. She hurled the dagger into the sea and was transformed into an ethereal spirit of the air. The other spirits said, "Poor little mermaid, your suffering and loyalty have raised you up to a realm of airy spirits, and in 300 years you may earn a soul that will never die." The mermaid looked up at the sun, her eyes wet with tears for the first time in her life. So we have got the bog, the threshold. So you have a decision to make. Yeah, you have a decision to make. And it could be a dangerous decision. You need to make sure that you are flexible with how you're doing things and you think about the consequences of what you're doing, what decisions you're making and what you're doing. So just be aware of what the consequences of your actions could be later on when making those decisions. Because it is, you're at that point where you're going to have to decide one way or the other. And you need to be careful with those decisions. So the thing that's going to help you with this is the C. You need to look very deep within yourself. It's you need to look very deeply. So water is in tarot cards, water is emotions. So you need to look very deeply into your emotions of what you want. But are you able to deal with the consequences of what you want? You need to take, there's a lot of soul diving here. I feel you need to do a lot of deep soul diving to make that decision. It's not an easy decision, and ultimately it is yours. Meditation and journal writing could be useful for you at this time. Make note of things, or maybe just writing stuff out, just pouring what you're in your head out onto a piece of paper and out what's in your heart and your soul. pour it out onto a piece of paper and come back to it later. Right, let's see what we've got for the last one. So, if you pick Rumpelstiltskin, this is your reading. Oh, we've got the imp. Embrace your inner wild child. So this is what's going on. And your piece of advice is this. Know yourself. Okay. So the imp. Embrace your inner wild child. Let's find Rumpelstiltskin in here. Okay, here we are. A poor miller with a beautiful daughter once boasted to a king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. So the king ordered him to bring her to the castle so she could be put to the test. If she failed, she would die. The miller's daughter sat weeping when suddenly the door opened and an imp stepped inside and asked her why she wept. The girl explained the dilemma and he asked her, "What will you give if I spin the straw into gold for you?" The girl offered him her necklace, so he sat down before the spinning wheel and laboured till all the straw was spun to gold. The king was very pleased when he saw all the gold, but he was greedy for more. The miller's daughter was again locked in and told to spin a roomful of straw into gold. This time the imp helped her in return for a ring, but a third time he asked for her firstborn child. Despite the miller's daughter agreed, and the imp spun the straw into gold. When the king came and found everything just as he desired, he married the miller's daughter and she became queen. A year later, she brought a beautiful baby boy to the world, and immediately the imp appeared into the room and said, "Give me that which you promised." The queen offered the imp to the wealth of the kingdom, but he refused. The queen wept so much that the imp took pity on her and said, "I will give you 3 days to know my name. Then you shall keep your child." The queen spent the night thinking of the name that she'd heard. But when she recited them all to the imp, he replied every time, "That's not my name." The second day, she sent out a messenger to ask for the most unusual names he could find. Again, the imp replied to each and every one that it was not his name. On the night before the third day, the distraught queen went wandering into the woods. At her wits' end to know how to save her baby, she came across the imp dancing around the fire, chanting, "Tonight, tonight, my plans I make. Tomorrow, tomorrow, the baby I take. The queen will never win the game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name." The queen was delighted. When the little imp came and asked for his name, she pretended to guess and then pronounced the name. "The devil told you," the imp shouted. But then he spun about and disappeared and was never seen again. Okay, so what you've got going on is you need to embrace your inner wild child. Life has become too boring and you're not doing, yes, work is important, yes, family is important, but you need to actually have fun at some point. You need to go out and do something silly just because you can. And I'm not saying you need to go out and spend a fortune. I don't go for a walk in nature and blow some bubbles. Go to the beach and collect some sea glass. Do something that you really enjoy doing. Something simple, something easy you can do. And yeah, you need to actually have a bit of fun and let loose sometimes. So just do some silly things. I don't know, go and make sand castles at the beach. Right, the beach obviously is very important to you because that's what I keep getting. And we've got true name, know yourself. Yeah, to help you do this, you need to learn who you are and what you like doing. There is something I can recommend you can try. You write down 10 things you enjoyed doing as a child. You then write down 10 things you're good at, and you write down 10 things that you enjoy doing now. And see where you end up. If I write mine out, they're very similar. All the lists are very similar. But then I get to do this, so it's a bit different if I had to go to an office and sit down and do a job I didn't enjoy doing. But yeah, please let me know what you think of this reading. If you like this type of reading, Let me know what fairy tale you picked. Does it have any special meaning to you? I'd love to know. I do try and look at all the comments and reply wherever possible. But please comment, like, share, subscribe, save. If you're not on YouTube or TikTok, that's where these readings go up first. Not all of them go up on Facebook, so make sure you head over there and have a listen. But I hope you have a magical day when you're listening to this, and I will be back again with some more readings later on.